Can everybody see my screen? Very good. All right. So today is the fourth session of cloud computing with Ramadan series. So primarily today we will be talking the security in the cloud or any cloud. So since like we cannot implement like end to end with a span of 1 hour, we will be touching base what all security options is available and how we can secure our cloud infrastructure, how we can secure our uh, services and deliverables and data and all those things uh, within the premises of the cloud infrastructure. Whatever the cloud infrastructure we are using, either Amazon Cloud, Microsoft Azure, uh, we have options to secure our data within the cloud. And so since like we from the day one we were talking the Amazon cloud, so we will be focusing on the Amazon cloud itself. So today we will be talking. There are various domain of the of security control exist or available for AWS. So, and it is categorized in a very in a way wherein like you can segregate uh, what to secure in what ways. And based on that, like they also offered various different kind of AWS services. For example, uh, the i- in my slide, there are various security domain uh, we we mentioned here. So the first domain is data privacy, wherein like we will be talking more of how we can secure data with respect secure and uh, the privacy is also concerned and how we can handle those all situations to make sure data can be seen by the only authorized person. There are governance tab, like a bunch of services have some governance related activities and how and providing you and options how you will be make sure like your service and data are compliance with the governance. Also, bunch of services available for the vulnerability management, user device management, risk management, network management, manage identity and access, and incident response. So these are the basically Amazon itself categorize various domain wherein we can um, secure our code and data and infrastructure. So going into the detail, we will show some policies and options how we can secure it. But every category has some services and some business case which we need to work. If you are working on the security aspects of security within the cloud space. So, for example, data privacy. So, data privacy. Uh, and your data, you're keeping your data in Amazon S3 or some other services. You can keep your data within them, but S3 is the most frequent use services to store the data. So there are a couple of things which you need to do once when you're storing the services within the S3. By default, no user can access, only authorized user can access your S3 bucket. You can grant the access, and there are various different way uh, to grant the access. For example, the data. You can categorize the data for the public usage. You can categorize the data for private usage on some specific, and you can also categorize data based on their sensitivity level and create a role and create a policy so that only authorized person can access those data. So if you see there is a different bucket here. You can block the public access. You can block the object within the bucket, and you can have the ownership within the bucket. And those who have the ownership, they can access those data. Amazon S3 also support audit logs, which we talked about last few sessions, wherein like any kind of operations uh, with S3 buckets. You can have the logs, and you can audit those logs, who has access and when they access and all those kind of things. Amazon also supports this from the security perspective, like we support the governance. Governance, what is the governance? Basically, governance is a process. It ensure all the services are effective and compliant without giving up any flexibility to achieve its goal. So these are the services listed here: CloudWatch, Cloud Formations, AWS configurations, organization, and trusted advisor. This survey, we can show you how it looks like in a later part of the today's sessions. So I'm sure like we have seen the cloud watch. Similarly, we have the cloud formations. This is also one of the service. AWS config is is one of the service wherein like it will tell you all the configurations, and if it is it's not latest and updated, this also alerts. You can make sure you can write code to alert use these services. AWS organizations is very key services, wherein like if you're a customer of AWS and you want to you want to use the entire multiple AWS account within your organizations. So you can build an organizations. You can have different account for the development team, different account for the QA teams, and it rolled it up with one organization. It helps for the billing perspective. It helps for many better separation of concern. And similarly, like trusted advisor is so one of the key service for the governance of AWS. So I put together a few things, few category of access management security services. So primarily identity and access management. Identity access management is a group uh, wherein under this group there are many other services exist, and we can talk and learn in detail. There are three different major categories of those services we listed here. Product means services and what these services do, and if it is a free tier of a detail or not. So those things, since like we were talking about like free, when can we use that free of those services, so we just listed those data here so that like you understand on a very high level perspective, if we are using this, we are not paying some extra or we have to pay some extra, whether this is a service uh, mm, we needs to pay or not. So Amazon Cognito is one of the service like IAM, and it is under part of under the category of identity and access management. So what the Amazon Cognito will do, it lets you add user sign up, sign in, and control user access control, web and mobile apps. So we all are aware of that. Like when we have uh, when we have any applications, we need to build some login page, and once we build a login page, you can build like sign up. You have to give the sign up options wherein you have to ask like some user details, some basic informations, and create a user account, and you can provide the sign in option for those users once uh, to get into that. So those all kind of options you can build with the help of Cognito. It takes some times to build, but at least if you are aware of that, uh, those option is available. Then when at the real real world time when you are building any code, where then you can build those things with the help of Cognito. So Cognito is always comes always free, and but it has some limitations. Your user pool feature has free tier of 50,000 uh, MAU each month, and 10 GB of cloud synchronization storage expires 12 months after sign up. So it has some limitations. We are not going into this marketing stuff. We are not selling here. We are learning. So this is just for us. But whenever I'm pretty sure, like whenever we are using Cognito under within some organizations, or we are building it, then in that case, these all things we will not be taking care. Like primarily, we just need to build that. Uh, Similarly, AWS IAM Identity Center. We already learned the IAM in our first session, wherein you have to create the users. You will also create a group and roles, mm, and with the help of IAM, you will be making sure like who can access what. So you also create some policies and make sure like this policy is attached with the user roles, and based on that, like user on that user can access certain resources or not. Those all things can be pretty much configure in IAM. And what is the identity center? Where you connect your forces identity in AWS once manage access centrally or AWS organization. So basically it's an identity center wherein you have to create or connect different workforce identities, uh, and it is a free options. When once you sign up the account subscriptions, you can use these services. IAM is also free. AWS organizations, which we just spoke about, like what is the AWS organization? Primarily, it centrally manage all the services within one organizations, and it is very easy to configure and easy to maintain if you have multiple accounts. In a think in a bigger picture, bigger perspective, like you have multiple account. Uh, a company is using Amazon, so a company should not have only one account. There might be a number of account, and managing those account individually, it would be very difficult and painful process. So rather that, like we should have one organizations associated with all the account, one billing, and categorize organization based on the department and all those things. So AWS organization is one of the service, and you can use it. Let me okay. Uh, At this point, like any questions? These are the services, primarily security related services, and we will not have much greater insight and detail from the demo perspective, but we can have some quick demo because we need to configure entire applications to show you like how we will configure the security. But having this knowledge, these are the services, and this services do this, that will help you connect the dots. And whenever in a actual world, if you're using it, you can correlate and use that. Oh, this service is using for this purpose, and then let's use this service for this one, this business case, solving this business case problem. Right? Any questions at this point of time? So I can address. If not, then if you have any question, you can post in the chat. I will read and address that. Okay. So no question at this point of time. So we do have the service security category called detections. When do we have the detection services if something goes wrong? If you are deployed some applications, so continuously it will detect some malicious activities and vulnerabilities. So to address those kind of problems, Amazon provide the three different types of services, and there are many other services also part of that detection. This is most frequently used services we listed here. So security hub. What is a security hub? So security hub is a cloud security posture management service that performs security best practices, check aggregate alerts, and enable automated remediations. What does this mean? So this means is like within your environment, within your cloud security or account, AWS account, it manage some best practices, and something is missing within your environment, it will automatically detect and aggregates in a form of reports, and sometimes it would remediate in an automated fashion, and sometimes like it will report you back so that you can go and fix that. So nobody's which is very different than the on-prem scenario, wherein one person has to sit and make sure review the stuff and make sure like what all best practices is following, and based on that they have to give some recommendations to the team, and uh, team has fixed that. So those kind of approach is very a reactive approach, I would say, or like the approach which is mm, not very efficient. Uh, but here, service, if you enable the security hub, it will automatically detect what all best practices is not followed, and aggregate those checks and give you the results, right? So coming back to the guard duty, this is one of my favorite service. Threat detection services that continuously monitor the malicious activities. If you are if you're trying to build your career in security, and if you're working on a cloud space, these are the services you will be using on day in day out basis. So you have to enable the Amazon guard duty services. By name itself, it shows like what is this? It is guard duty. This is guarding something. So uh, it detects the threats and continuously detect the stress or any unauthorized behavior within your account. And suppose some third party or some bad guy is trying to push some things, or passing some malicious activities within your account, then this service is playing very key role. This service will help you to identify what all threats or malicious activities, and based on that you'll see the graph and report uh, some unusual activities is happening within your account, and you can take some decisions, corrective decisions proactively. That will help save you, your company, your customer. This comes with a 30 days free trial, and after that like you have to pay based on their pricing chart is. Under the detections, there is another service called Inspector, uh, and which is very similar for guard duty and Inspector. Sometimes we will get confused, like which one to use, like in guard duty, and but there are some dotted line differences. Sorry. So Amazon Inspector is a vulnerability management service that continuously scan your AWS workload. So whatever code you deployed, like your application deployed within the AWS as in software deployed. So any exposure, and or bad exposures or network exposures, Amazon Inspector continuously monitors if any vulnerabilities they identify. So uh, I'm sure like people knows what is vulnerabilities, but just re-emphasize is a weakness in the system. Vulnerabilities where the bad guy can exploit that. So those kind of weaknesses within the system, or hole or security hole within the system, um, uh, you cannot keep it open, and you cannot pass this to your customer. That means like you are passing the unnecessary security risk to your customer. So these are all services, if you enable before delivering it to the customer, or your the project, this service will help you to finding those holes, and you have to remediate those things b- before before releasing that. Yeah. Yeah, does anyone have some any questions? Let me post in the chat. Do they have AWS Cloud Security Cert, which specifically teaches us on Security Hub, Guard Duty, and Inspector? Of course, this, so Brother Kamal, uh, these all things which we are talking, this is from the practitioner's perspective. You are just aware of the services. But if you're talking the AWS Cloud Security Cert, which is a specialty cert, which we have already talked about yesterday. And if you clear the specialty cert, this means you are pretty much authorized to work as a security engineer of AWS Cloud environment. And these all services will go in literally in depth. A lot of things you will be learning. We are just talking here. We cannot give everything and anything within 1 hour. Like 1 hour we just touching base, like okay, these are the services, but one services may takes a couple of hours to explain, have some demo, and how to configure this, how to configure this against any applications, against any environment, how do we get uh, capture the vulnerabilities, how to remediate those things. Those all things is in detail we can learn. This today's session is just like we are aware of that, like these are the services and this service do what. Yeah, but for short answer of your question, yes, security specialty set definitely teach you in detail, or diving deep on a specific topics, on every topic which is part of the security. Yeah, thank you. So, network and application protection. Mm, you probably aware of that, like what is a web application? Everybody is aware of the web application. So, what is web application? Is a website wherein like it's a dynamic kind of website or a static kind of website. Some website like have some backend database, but it is publicly available for everyone, right? Like for example, uh, Microsoft.com or Google.com or any eBay.com. So those website is very easy to hack if it is not secure. So we have to enable all the network and application protections when we are building any such kind of applications which is public facing. So first the service called AWS WAF, that's called Web Application Firewall. So what is this firewall is? It's a some firewall. We are not going to detail what is firewall, what is how many types of firewalls. It's a hardware firewall or software firewall. So the, those all things we can talk and learn. But uh, here in web application firewall, you can configure or you can enable for your endpoint or the website which you have developed within the cloud infrastructure. Suppose you have one web applications developed in cloud and you deploy that. So anyone can push some or some try out some malicious activity within your uh, web applications. In that case, like if something legitimate malicious activity comes, they may hack your website and they may take down your website. For example, many times like it is happening, and security folks is very active during the festive season time, when many of the site like bad guys is hack and make them down and asking some ransom money and all those things. So in the for to address those all things proactively, what you need to do, have a web application firewall ready, wherein every request comes to your website, it will be filtered by your web application firewall. This is a free service or free, I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is the free until X millions of requests, and after that, like it will be minimal charge. So having web application firewall in your public facing site is very key for any security folks. Like they have to have those things enabled and configured before putting your applications into the public facing site. So what all things it does, like sometimes it will monitor all the requests and filter and drop those requests if it thinks like it's a bad, also this will also understand sometimes, like if you can write some custom rule. Suppose for example somebody wants to do some kind of SQL injection or any kind of injections to your website, and they're trying some injections activities, and if you write some kind of rule within the web application firewalls and deploy that, so those bad things will also get caught and drop that, so that your website is safe and secure. And any security person must have this knowledge, and they have to I'm emphasizing this because this is a very basic things to enable, and without that you cannot go with any public facing applications. uh, so WAF and Shield, the another services is WAF and Shield. Shield is the advanced versions of the WAF, you can consider that, and this will protect some kind of DOS and DDoS attack. I'm sure, like if some of you are aware of DOS and DDoS, but let me explain what is DOS and DDoS. It is written here. Denial of services, DOS, and DDoS is distributed denial of services attack. This is one kind of attack wherein, like, if your service is ready to accept or handle, let's assume 100 requests, but somebody is uh, sending like 1 million requests, then your service is down, like they're unable to handle those kind of things. So distributed denial of services and denial of services, so your service will be uh, shut down, your service will no more longer for your customer, and ultimately it is your reputations, your company reputations, your business will go down. So, and this is very common attack, very common attack, and sending multiple requests, like millions and trillions, billions of requests to make your server down. To handle this, AWS Shield is proactively helping the customer, wherein if you enable AWS Shield, it will it will help you safeguard your applications. Also, if you buy the AWS Shield, because this is a premium service, you will get some they have some kind of SLA within some specific amount of hours or days, they have to respond, and some kind of agreement is there, like if they are unable to do, then they might be compensate those things. So and this service is not paid, not free, it's a paid from the day one, couple of $1,000 like you have to pay as a whole these services. Yeah. So, so any questions at this point of time? If not, I can give you a minute to just ingest this. We just keep on talking. Any questions? Welcome to discuss, at least in some detail. Uh, so I don't see any questions. So let me move to the next slide. So the next service category is data protection, and you may see like n number of services for only for the security. Similarly, like for the data categories, you will see a bunch of services for the data category. Operational category, there are a bunch of services for the operational category. So you need to, if you are building your career in this security areas, with at least these are the service you must be knowing, and in a with good understanding of those services. Right. So the next service is the AWS Key Management Services. We the short form the Key Management Services, we call it the KMS, and and the other is a Secret Manager Services. What is the KMS services? So basically, it may manage the cryptographic keys and control their use across the wide range of AWS services. So basically, once if you have some resource within the AWS, you can have the KMS key enabled for those resources with a specific kind of cryptographic key. There are uh, different types of KMS key you can generate and associate with that to make sure like that key is uh, or that resource is in tight with the KMS key, and it will be uh, once other people can read the data, they can also use the KMS to decrypt the informations. So, okay. So cryptographic key is, in a high level terms, Kamal, we can say like is a key wherein like base with the reference for that key, you can lock your data, the type of key, so that other cannot read, and the similar key can unlock your data to read by the authorized person. Again, it is also cryptography is a huge topic. There are various type of algorithms used for the cryptography to encrypt your data. Uh, and we can talk on those algorithms when we go in detail. But in a nutshell, in a quick way, like it's a type of algorithms wherein you can protect or encrypt your data, and then similar type of algorithms to decrypt your data. All right. So, and 20,000 free request per month is giving you for an account, and it will get reset the counter every first of the month. Okay, nice. So the another key service is Secret Manager. This is very widely used, accepted services. Key Secret Manager, and every developer is using the Secret Managers. I would say from my experience, like this is most frequently used services. It helps you protect secrets needed to access your application. For example, the real world scenario: you have a database, and database password is reading user ID and password is reading by your applications to connect to the database and read the database informations from the database using some API. You should not have the password and database name or username open free text in your applications. That's a very bad configuration. Even you cannot keep those things into the configuration file. I'm sure like if someone is use like configuration file or have some application development experience, there is different types of configuration file wherein you use or you keep some kind of configurations to read um, within the application. Like those who worked on a web application, there's a configuration file called web.config, machine.config, wherein you keep your all configurations. And in a past previous day, like people, we have seen like database information they are keeping in the web.config file and reading the database informations, and 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 once and establish the connection to the database within the applications and call the data, read the data and update the data and all this thing. But if your configuration file is written in a plain text and it got hacked, so you are giving all the informations to the bad guy, and they can try. If they success, then your entire data with their hand. So that's not a good practice to keep config file is open, config settings is open. So you can use the secret manager, and you can use the secret manager and keep secretly and do some kind of apply some algorithms as well. Um, so whenever you are using or reading in your application secret managers or database keys or user key, then you have that setting to enable or disables secret managers to read the right information via API and use it, then you should be done. Other people cannot see that. So those all kind of configurations you can keep uh, within the secret manager. And this service is easily to rotate, manage, and retrieve database credentials. And this is a pretty good feature. Like if you have some database credentials within the secret manager, and you say like every 365 days it will get rotate. uh, this gives an option of 365 days, I believe, by default. I'm not sure exactly, but 90 days is good amount of time wherein like you can select, and every 90 days it will get rotate the credential, and you don't need to do anything. Like all things, everything should be done by the secret manager. So it comes with a free trial, and the free trial enables you to rotate, manage, and retrieve secret over 30 days period. Your free trial start when you store your first secret. So from that, like 30 days time frame to have your secrets. Let me go to the next slide. So this is what the data detection. What was that? Data protection. So now incident response. Anybody is aware of the incident response? This is very very frequently used term in a security world. Incident means something happened, and something happened in a real world environment, in a production environment. There should be some kind of the team should respond that, mm, and identify that and fix that. So one of the service called Amazon Detective, it helps you make it easy your life to analyze, investigate, and quickly identify the root cause of the potentials of the security issue or suspicious activities. If something goes wrong, then with the help of these services, this service will help you to investigate and quickly identify what is the root cause of the problem, so that you can respond to your customer. Okay, this is we identify the problem, so within 12 hours or 6 hours we'll be able to release the patch or fix it. So having this service uh, configure or enable will is giving you a lot of confidence and building trust. If something goes wrong, we can fix on certain amount of time. And incident response teams jobs would becomes very easy. um, so cloud trail and the compliance perspective, there is a audit manager and cloud trails. These are the another services for the compliance perspective. So audit manager will help you continuously audit your AWS usage, and also it simplifies how to assess your risk. So assessing the risk within your environment, again, it's not done by any individual. Entire thing done by the service, the computer, and it you are just getting the results. Okay, audit manager audits your all the usage and assess the risk, and it will give you the result. Okay, I have assessed, the audit manager assess the risk and give you result like, okay, your S3 bucket is not protected. Your bucket is publicly available. Kind of those kind of thing. And then you have to go and fix that. Similarly, the Cloud Trail. So any API, if you are using any API, Cloud Trail, with the help of Cloud Trail, it helps you to log uh, all the activities, and with the help of that, like it enables the governance for the operational auditing, like who is called, like for example, uh, somebody's tried to use 4 different times the password options. Even if it is wrong, those all can be captured, and you can see here. So if it is legitimate request, which is good. If not, then you, you get to know, okay, what is happening, and you will take some action based on that. Amazon Artifact. Artifact is on-demand services. This will tell you what all services are compliant or not. So if I clicked on the Amazon artifact, so basically this is not a service, I would say this, but in a form of service it plays it, but it helps you to know like what all service is compliant, what all service is not compliant, what all services can be used for the PHI related activity, what all service cannot be used for the PHI related activity and all those things. Let me open that. Basically, it's kind of it will give you the reports of the compliance report mm, based on the services usage. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to log in or not. Download the document, common services policies. Uh, Maybe let me try artifact. Okay, so this is the AWS artifact and view reports. If you see the reports, uh, accessibility conformance report, Amazon Cognitive User Pool. So their legal team, their security teams review all the services, review all their certification, their attestations, and they will submit in their artifact so that you can get the report, and based on that you understand, okay, these services can be used for your sensitive data or not. And you can use those things, like for example I can just try to get some services. uh, what all services? If you see the FINMA IEC 3000 type 2 report, so those some of the projects, some of the companies working on this domain, and they were unsure they can use this cloud infrastructure or not, then they have to come here and see those report. Okay, this report, this says like this is already certified, this is already attested, you can use it. Let me show you a few more things. ISO 27001. What is the ISO 20? This is one kind of certifications and attestation. So it says like Amazon service is already ISO 27001 certified, and you can use that. So certification issued by independent third-party auditor. It validate the AWS complies with ISO 27001 and intentionally recognize a standard for the security management so that you can use it. So this is for the security folks, especially for the management side of the people who is writing policies, who's making sure, okay, what services needs to use and can be used or cannot be used. So this artifact is a good place to start with. Yeah. Any questions? I'm just surprised that has built these services. This is the program. Just gave me an idea how big the cloud computing industry. So, brother Kamal, this is a big company. It's not a very limited set of services. It's a big, and this is millions of users are using, and the company itself has more than millions, thousands of employees, thousands and thousands of employee who is working on to build these all services, and they're not stopped yet. They continuously they are releasing more services. So if you see the last year and this year is key to get into the AI related services like uh, Amazon Bedrock, generative AI where you can generate the contents, and they are integrating with the different foundational models with the different companies, and bringing into their platform. So this is not a small. This is pretty is a vast and very big. But you need to choose your own path, like what area you need to build your career, or what area you need to work on, and you have to strengthen those areas rather than like just need to work on every area. So you cannot be master of all. At least you need to you need to choose your area, and we already talked about which area you have to choose, like either sysops, developer, data engineer, security, AI expert, and all those things. Any other questions, brothers and sister? Okay. Silent is no then. Okay, we will talk like some S3, some configuration of the S3, and followed by some Q&A sessions. So so primarily, if we already know like there are a number of services available, and which is addressing the security need, and we need to understand if you are working in the security space, like we need to understand those are services. Some of the common services like S3, since like you are keeping the data, your uh, real data or live data or sensitive data or important data, if you're keeping, then make sure like you have to configure in a way where it is secure. So let me log into my account. Sorry, bear with me. I'm just logging and getting the credentials so that 1942. This account is not active, so let me get some other account. Okay, so 630. So you will also experience the logging experience this way, wherein like you need to log in with a specific account, and these are the IAM user. So this user is gets configured by the admin team, or admin of this account, and you can log in that. And so technically you are not admin of this account. Somebody is admin and then created some users and role, and you can log in with the help of that. So let's see how it goes. So if you see, like we talked about a couple of services which can be seen here, uh, WAF and Shield. So WAF and Shield is some if you're trying to launch your product or website which is a public facing, you have to create the WAF. It protects the web application from common web exploit. It will it will protect that within that request itself. So you will see this kind of service, and you can work on it. We will have like detailed sessions like how we do configure, how we can use that individual services, and then Shield as well. So how it looks like Amazon Inspector. If you see the how the Amazon Inspector looks like, and what it does, we it automated the continual vulnerability management. So it's a 15 days trial. You can start with get started here, but this account, sometime you will also see like this some account is not authorized to use that, or some roles is not authorized to use it. No, not everybody can use the inspector and audit log. Let me tell you why. This is very key thing. Uh, so if this is enabled for everyone, this means like some vulnerabilities we found and or some weaknesses we found in our account, everybody is aware of that. So only authorized person can aware of what is the vulnerabilities, and they can have the timeline to fix that. Not, or suppose like you are logging into one of the customer, let's assume Nike is one, Nike is your customer, and you see, okay, some of the vulnerability I found, and then you leak that, and some bad guy can exploit those things. So there would be a big mess. So in that case, like not this scan date metrics is not available for everyone. So we talked a couple of other services and how it looks like. We just wanted to show you. And mm, cloud formations, this is one of the compliance service. This very uh, most used services here, the cloud formation template. So whenever you write some code and you want to deploy that code into the AWS environment, the CDK template will build, and then you will be deploying the templates, and how it looks like. Basically, your code is deployed in the form of template. So, and if you will work on the Amazon cloud, this would be your day-to-day job. Like you need to understand what is the cloud formation template. Wherein if you see here, uh, these are the template looks like. Even entire code is translated into the template, and this template will get deployed. How and if you see that what all resources is using, these are the types and the properties, what all the functions gets used, what all services is using, these are all things. And once you deployed that, once it is successfully deployed, you can get the uh, endpoint and use those to your product or applications. Okay. Basically, it's a code, or you're deploying the infrastructure. Okay, so I click on this recently visited services, all services. Can say this is a little bit of slow. And of course, S3, let's talk quickly S3. From the security perspective, S3, you need to configure a bunch of things. Otherwise, you will get severity 3 or severity 2 or severity, whatever the top severity issues, you will be getting that. So test bucket, okay. So this ACL disabled recommendation, ACL enable recommendation. So since we are working on a test and POCs, so we just going with the option is default option, but that's not the right practice. You need to understand what is it means, and what is the best use of these all options. So disable recommendation for the ACL, and disable block access. Of course, this is the by default disable all block access, but you can enable, and you can write some policies. If you see here, like I acknowledge, this means this is very critical things. If you are making your S3s publicly available, so the company is asking like, okay, are you making sure like you are enabling your data in public access? Bucket versioning is also Important. Somebody has asked like what is the encryption type? So these are the types of encryptions available, and this is one kind of algorithms: SSE, S3, SSE, KMS, SS, DSSE, KMS. Underneath there is algorithm runs. If you use this type of encryptions, your data will be encrypted based on that algorithms. So some algorithms is strong, some algorithms is not that strong, but this is your choice, like which algorithms. And of course Amazon Cloud will provide you the best options, but you can also sometimes based on your business case and business need, you need to select the types of encryption. So this is key thing. And if you see here, we talked about the server-side encryptions. So you can create some key, create KMS key, and that encryption you can use in your resources to do the further operations. Advanced setting. I'm not. Uh, okay, so let me choose from the KMS key. Can anyone tell like why the bucket name is already exist? This is not exist here anymore within this account, but why this is complaining? Because it is a globally unique service, a globally unique bucket. It is checking against the global name. Like if anyone is keeping this bucket name, then it will say, okay, this bucket is not already exist. You need to give some different name. So it's better to associate with the date time with your account number. Is the best practices is like name, the account number, and date time, so that like it would be easy identify those packets. So bucket name must contain uppercase characters. So must not contain uppercase characters. So here is a permission. So if you want to create a this bucket, and within this bucket, if you want to have some kind of policy, only a specific person can access this, or a specific object can be accessible to all, some specific object can be accessible to a specific person. Those all policy you can write it, and policy you can write it here. So I just written some some random policies, and we can talk really quick those policies. So this is the policies, wherein it says like policy looks like it's a JSON format file. You need to say like what all action can be performed within this bucket, and principal is start for all, star means all, and effect is allow, and what is the bucket name or resource name where this policy will be applied. So you need to write this. Suppose this is the bucket name, then you have to write this bucket name here, right? So once you apply this means like this is the ARN, this of you can perform get object and put object and all those things for this resource, and effect is allow, and principal for star means everything. It's a wildcat character. So yeah, I understand like uh, with with respect to the time, like within 1 hour we cannot do everything, but considering those things like how to make security enabled with every services on your product, we need to learn more, and and we need to learn every services in a good way, uh, how it will apply into the real world scenarios and real world business case to help you and your business. So for that, like we are open to have detailed courses available, but this is just an introductory course, and I hope I hope you understand at least on a high level perspective. And if you want to go in detail, we can certainly work on the detail side of the services. So, all right. Considering that, like, I'm I'm done for today. Like, if any questions anybody is having, I'm happy to answer that. Why would one business need this service from AWS all at one? Why would one business need these services? So you don't need to. One business does not need all the services, but I security service almost every business need, because you need to uh, again, within the security service you need to select which service is helping your business case and apply that. So basically they are selling it. They are selling 10 different things with 10 different capabilities, and whatever is best for you, you can use that. Yeah. Uh, all right. If we don't have any other questions, we're just closing for today's sessions. Yeah. Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Happy Ramadans. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I don't know.